and that was it. Later over the years, he'd put out music. I'd listen to it, and I eventually put my wife onto it. And we just, we'd always listen to Upchurch. We fucking liked Upchurch. That was, this is the crazy part, is I was an Upchurch fan.
Right.
Well, coming around the time when he had that thing in Corbin, Kentucky, the Lamborghini signing, me and my wife were talking about, well, she was on my computer, and she was like, Clyde, we need to get these tickets, la-da-da. We need to fucking go down there, and I've been talking to him on Instagram. We can get pictures and whatnot. And I was like, hell yeah. Fuck yeah, I want to go meet Upchurch, because, like I said, I was a big-ass fan. So,
right.
We end up driving down there, and at the time we lived in Tennessee, so, it was a little bit of a drive. We ended up going down there, and everything was badass. He came out there and, performed his ass off, and I was fucking hyped up. And then, the show ended and whatnot, and I thought we were just going to head back to the car and start driving home. Well, she texts him, and before we leave, we're sitting in the car, she's texting him saying, hey, can we come backstage, get a picture with you?
Right.
We're big fans, all that shit. And then he replies to her, says, yeah, fucking, like, come on back. And so we start heading on back, and we meet him and all that. I shake hands with his people, and we're just sitting down, and it's a vibe. It was smooth as hell at first, and everything was cool. And I thought I made friends with the dude. And I was telling him, like, man, your music changed my life. I fucking look up to you. I put my wife on you. And whenever I have a son, I was telling him all this shit. And let me state now, he looked me in the eyes and shook my hand.
Right.
And that's where my respect, shouldn't have been disrespected.
Right.
Once you shake another man's hand, you look him in the eyes, you're giving them your honesty and your respect. Well, that was instantly fucked up, because him and my wife started to get, a little too close. He's making jokes, and he ain't much of a part of it at first. He's just kind of making jokes, and she's laughing at it, and she's trying to get up all on him. And even then, I'm like, well, hey, it's Upchurch, and she might be just, starstruck or whatever. And we start, during this, everything's still a vibe. I'm fucking, we're passing around joints, because he pulled out a joint, and he's like, man, let me show y'all some unreleased music. So we're sitting around fucking, vibing and whatnot, and he's just playing unreleased music. But then I pull my wife aside, some Hennessy. I was telling you about that last time. He pulled out a little Hennessy. We was drinking it a little bit, and we were, passing around the joint, listening to unreleased music. And I think at the time it was something like People's Champ or some shit like that.
It was People's Champ.
Yeah. Well, I pull my wife aside at this point, because Upchurch, he goes on and starts talking to his people. So I start, I pull my wife aside. I take the opportunity, since I have, a clear moment.
Right.
Well, I tell her, hey, don't you think you're being a little bit of a slut? Just throwing it out there, just being completely honest. Because she was, all over his shoulder, leaning her head on his shoulder. And I mean, to me, and I ain't insecure or nothing. People say I'm controlling or manipulative or whatever, but that that ain't right to me.
That's your wife.
Yeah. And like I said, man, I don't give a fuck how many followers you have. You ain't gonna mess with my old lady. I don't care how long I looked up to you or whatnot. You just can't do that.
Right.
Well, she tells me that, she apologized. She says she may have been a little over the line. She didn't mean to, because we're big fans. So at first I understood. Well, we get back over there, and they, one of his friends brings out some Jello shots. And so we start taking those a little bit. And, I stopped eventually, because I ended up having to drive home. Well, she kept on. She kept on doing it, kept on, flirting with him and just getting close. And that's when I said, and he was doing it back. And keep in mind, he had a girlfriend. So I was just pissed off. So I finally say, hey man, fuck y'all, I'm leaving.
Right.
And I left her ass there. I fucking drove all the way, back to my house, and I left her ass there. I told her she gonna have to get her own ride back. I ain't, I don't mess with no whore. So, she ends up staying with Upchurch for a couple nights.
Right.
Where at, I don't know. And it was about a couple nights, and she eventually, I guess, her and him got in a fight or whatever is what she's telling me, and he put all her stuff outside. And she was asking me if she can come back and she's sorry and all this shit. And I, first thing I told her is, you ain't sorry. You use somebody, and now you can't use them no more. So you want to come back? Well, I'm a man. I'm a human. So I mess up. I let her come back for, man, she wasn't here no longer than a week.
Right.
She comes back. I thought everything was fine at first. I was hurt. I didn't let the situation go. I'm a man. I was hurt.
Right.
Well, I think it was on a Friday I had to work. And she got in the shower, and I was laying in bed before I had to go to work. I was waiting on her, and her phone popped off. And I saw, a text from Upchurch.
Right.
And I was like, what the fuck? So I opened the phone, and he's talking about, let me, I want to be all over you again and all that shit. And, right then and there, I was like, hell no. So she gets out of the shower, I tell her, hey, I'm going to work. By the time I get back, all your shit better be the fuck out. I thought she was going to go live with her mama again. But no, I come back. Not only did she leave heading toward Ryan's house, but she stole from me. I had collectible fishing gear out in my living room. I had like a very rare Dale Earnhardt Jr. poster. You just can't get anywhere. It's worth a lot of money. She took that. I had a collectible Joe Dirt 2 blanket. She took that shit. I mean, I just had, I'm a collectible man. I collect things. And she took all that, and she gave all my fishing gear to Ryan. Because he ended up posting it on a story.
Right.
And that was where I was like, man, what the fuck? You want, not only do you come into my life and you fuck shit up, but you steal my shit and then give it to the man you're leaving me for? Fuck all that. So I'm sorry. I don't mean to get upset right now. Every time I think about it, man, my blood just boils.
It's understandable. I mean, it's understandable.
Yeah,
you sit and watch.
I don't mean to throw a fit and cuss and whatnot. I just,
You're fine. You're fine.
I just get a little upset about it. But she stays out there for no more than 3 days. And where at, I don't know. Honestly, Upchurch has so many properties. He's probably got different houses for different girls. And probably, tells his girlfriend he's somewhere when he ain't. He's probably hanging out with somebody's wife.
Right.
But, man, I got screenshots. I got a signed hat. He ended up signing my hat. I forgot to mention that. Right. I was like, man, I don't have anything. I don't have any merchandise, but I was wearing my ball cap, and I gave it to him. And I only had a pen on me at the time, and I was like, just sign this shit. He wrote, raise hell and eat cornbread. And I was like, fuck yeah. But little did I know, it's going to be nothing but trash later. That hat is nothing but fucking garbage. Every time I see it, I get pissed off.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, this person that y'all are idolizing, this person that y'all think is a saint, a knight in shining armor, he ain't shit. He ain't shit but a fucking liar. And he's going around calling people fucking pedophiles. Number one, dude, you were texting underage girls on TikTok.
Yep.
So, if you want to go around pointing fingers, and Johnny didn't know the age of that girl.
No, I didn't.
And he didn't even text her.
Nope, so I didn't even text her.
The people are so fucking dumb. That's all I got.
Just because I said I was going to message somebody don't mean that I'm going to.
Let's think about it this way. Not only that, it does not mean that you had any intentions to say something inappropriate. It didn't mean that you were hitting her up.
Right.
But he can go and ask about this girl's personal life?
Yeah.
Shit, I don't know about all that.
If you had anything to say to Ryan Upchurch right now, what would you say?
Man, I just want an apology. As man to man, I ain't looking for a fight. Although if you want to do something, we can. But I ain't looking for a fight, man. I just, as respect from a man, I want an apology.
They all have sick fucking mindsets to even.
My
be
wife
talking
said
like
for
that.
all these people in the comments to be talking about kids is sick. They're sick-minded.
Yeah.
Sick-minded,
Yeah,
man.
that's another thing. Don't man. Dick riders.
I don't care.
That HN News and Reviews.
People are trying to get my channel taken down. Is what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
You can't have freedom of speech no more neither.
No.